Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, whenever and wherever you are. My name is Anna Rochelle, and today we're going to talk about the very basics of perimeter. We're going to discuss the perimeter of a rectangle and the perimeter of a square. Those are the only two that we're going to discuss in this video. Later videos, we'll talk about later ones with other shapes. So one of the things that I want to mention with perimeter is, especially with videos that I work with, is anytime you see this really green box, you know that it's going to be some sort of formula, some sort of definition, some sort of something kind of important, and you want to pay attention to that. That's why it's usually covered in the beginning of the video, right? Okay, so here's the big reveal, and I deleted everything, right? Here we go. All right. So we know that the perimeter is actually just the distance around the shape. So what does that mean, the distance around the shape? Like, am I going to go ahead and take a walk around the shape? No, I'm not. I'm just looking at the shape. So one of the things that we have here is, let's say this is like a really fancy pants picture that I'm hanging in like a really large room, and there's this big wall, and I just need to like fill it with some sort of specific space, some sort of image, right? And so I found this fancy pants 5 foot by 7 foot picture frame with this brown frame around the actual picture. And apparently I really love this fancy picture. Okay. And so I'm gonna go ahead, I'm gonna hang it in my really big fancy room. And one of the things that my husband says to me is like, I actually don't like this frame. We need to change the frame. We need to make the color a little bit different. And we should probably just make it black and put this like black electrical tape over it. No one will know the difference. It's fine. I don't know why this scenario is coming to my head right now, but it is. And so here we are, right? A little bit weird, but it's fine. So he says, I need to know how much electric tape I'm going to put over this entire um, brown frame. And so one of the things that you're going to do is you're going to actually just find the distance around the shape, right? So that brown frame is going to be the actual piece that's really important for us to know how long it is. Well, I know that if this is actually, I think I kind of messed this up. This should be 5 feet and that should be 7 feet, but right, because one of them looks shorter than the other. This is 5 feet and that is 7 feet. So we know that if this is 7 feet long, this is also going to be 7 feet long because in a rectangle, the opposite sides are the same length, right? I'm gonna have 7 feet there. And we know that if this is 5 feet long, this is also going to be 5 feet long. And so when we find just the distance around that shape, what we're going to do is we're gonna just take the 5 feet plus the other 5 feet plus the 7 feet plus the other 7 feet, and ta-da, once we add that all together, we're going to end up with the total answer. So I like to do like adding by twos instead of like add and then add and then add and then add and then add. I think that like my brain doesn't work that really well that way. So I have 10 feet here, and then 7 plus 7 is 14. I have 14 here, and then I can just add these two and end up with 24 feet. So I can go ahead and I can tell my husband, like, listen, the perimeter of the whole picture is 24 feet. You're going to need 24 feet of electrical tape. He's going to go get the electrical tape, destroy the image. We'll hang it on the wall. Everyone's going to love it. It's fun, right? Okay, let's take a look at another type of problem. So I want to go over like finding the perimeter of a rectangle versus finding the perimeter of a square. And one of the things that we want to make sure that we're talking about is that this distance here, so this distance here is always going to be the same distance as that, right? So they're going to be that same 12 centimeters in a rectangle. They don't always have to tell you, hey, this is the same distance as this other thing. So they're not going to tell you that, hey, this is 8 centimeters. This is also 8 centimeters. They're just going to assume you know that that's the same 8 centimeters. And this they is basically the math book. The people who make up the worksheets, the people who make up the tests, that's the they out there, right? So one of the things that we're going to do is we're always going to add the perimeter, that we're going to add all of the sides in order to get that perimeter, right? So we're going to add the 12 centimeters, we're going to add the 8 centimeters, right? Then we're going to add the 12 centimeters that they don't give us. And we're also going to add the 8 centimeters also that they don't give us. One of the things I want you to notice is that the same number appears twice. So far, we've done 2 problems, and that same number appeared twice, right? So we know that since the previous shape was a rectangle and this shape is also a rectangle, basically what's going to happen is we're going to have the same exact number appear twice. One of the reasons why math is so fun and important is because we always have these patterns that we're looking for, right? And so as we find these patterns, what's going to happen is we're going to actually find these formulas, right? So in this case, one of the patterns that we found is when we're looking for the area of a rectangle, we're going to go ahead and we're going to have 2 of the same number and 2 of the same other number, right? And so this one, we know that we can actually make tens or multiples of tens with 12 and 8. 12 plus 8 is going to be 20. Another 12 plus 8 is going to be another 20. Both of them will be centimeters. And then we can add these guys and end up with a 40 centimeter perimeter, okay? Here's what they don't tell us about squares, specifically in the problems that are being given to us. We know that in a square, this side is obviously going to be the same as this side. So this will also be 16 inches. In a square, these 2 sides will also be the same, but guess what? In a square, all the sides are going to be the same. So all of these sides are actually going to be 16 inches. So if I were to rewrite this, I could say 16 inches plus another 16 inches, right? Plus another 16 inches. And then maybe plus another, right? Because at this point, I might actually get lost with the amount of 16 inches that I've written down. And so instead of doing this, I would actually do the 16 inches because I know that a square has 4 sides. So I'm going to take those 4 sides and just multiply that by 16 inches, meaning I'm going to go 16 inches times the 4 sides. And that's only done because a square has all of the same sides, okay? So let's take a look and let's actually put in a pattern, right? So we talked about perimeters having 2 of the same lengths and 2 of the same widths, right? We know that this side will be 14 meters. We know that this side will be 18 meters. And we know that because opposite sides are the same in a rectangle, right? Well, we just talked about that perimeter when we were doing the first 2 problems. We would have 2 of the same number and 2 of the same other number. Well, in this case, we would have 14 plus 14 plus 18 plus 18. And instead of adding the same thing so many times together, why can't we just do 2 times 14 plus 2 times 18? Whoops. Whoops. Okay. So that's going to be 2 times the length and 2 times the width, right? Now, one thing that I want to make very certain is we can actually say perimeter is 2 times the length plus 2 times the width, or we can say it's 2 times the width plus 2 times the length, right? And honestly, like it won't matter. It won't, like this is going to be the same thing as 2 times 18 plus 2 times 14. Our answer is going to be the same regardless. We're just doing the math in a different order, right? And that's the same because we have commutative property, we have associated, well, in this case, it's just commutative property. Because we're still doing 2 times 18 and 2 times 14, and then we're adding them together, right? And so commutative property says that we can add and multiply in different orders, and our answers will be the same exact answer. And that's how you have the formula to find the perimeter. This is pretty much the most important piece of perimeter. So you definitely want to make sure to highlight this particular piece somewhere in your notes, somewhere in your math book, or wherever you are looking for perimeter. And I will see you in the next video. Bye.